And then the one thing that I did splurge on, this was the biggest splurge ever. We've paid about 66% of the wedding already, so just a little bit above what I had budgeted initially. Hi everyone, welcome or welcome back to my channel. In today's video, we're talking all about wedding budget and what I'm saving on and splurging on for the wedding. If you're new here, hi, my name is Reza. I primarily talk about my personal finances, luxury goods, and my small business. So if you're into that, make sure you're subscribed down below. Okay, I feel like I haven't talked about the wedding with you guys in a little bit. I've done quite a few videos about the wedding, specifically about the dresses, and I did do a setup of my budget for the wedding, which I will link up here if you haven't seen that yet. The wedding is quickly coming up. I mentioned in my latest update that we are getting married in about a month, which is kind of crazy. And we have booked quite a few vendors already. So this is what this video is going to be about, is just sharing with you guys how much we've paid for everything and what I decided to save on and splurge on for the wedding, because I feel like it's different for every couple. I think that it depends on what you are into and what you really value. So if you want to see that, then let's get into it. Okay, welcome to my wedding budget tracker. I will have this link down below if you guys are curious. Essentially, in that latest video about the wedding, I shared with you guys how much the budget is that I thought I would have. Well, I should back up. I'll say that I thought I would spend about $15,000 all in, inclusive of everything. And then when I started to actually put some numbers behind some of these little categories that you see here, the total came up to $28,500. And I was in shock, but also I'm not super surprised, just because I know going into this, the wedding can cost a lot of money. It was shocking, but also I was kind of expecting it, if that makes sense. So that was the video that we did last month. And then this month, as I mentioned, we are getting married pretty quickly. We had to book a lot of different things, which I haven't given you guys the update on. So this is the update. We're basically going to go line by line into each of these expenses and tell you how much I paid and how much I still owe for each of them. And then we'll kind of go into the summary at the end. So for a couple of these things, you'll see that there is a $0 budget, just because we thought that this is not something that we want to spend money on, or it's just not a thing that is applicable for our wedding. As an example of that, it would be like the wedding invite. This is going to be a very intimate, very small wedding with just our immediate family. So we didn't think that it would make sense to spend money on invitations. We did do a digital invite that worked really well. So we did not have to do the physical invites, which I know can cost quite a few $100s. So I'm glad we didn't have to spend money on that. The first expense here is something I feel like I've chatted with you guys before. We are getting married here in Vancouver, and the budget that I initially put in here was $2,500. That was kind of the estimate that I had. And in the adjusted bucket, I put down $3,150. This is the final cost for the ceremony venue. So we have paid $2,000 for the venue already as the deposit, with the remaining of $1,150 left. Next is the celebrant or the officiant for the wedding. I truthfully wasn't sure how much an officiant would be, and I put down $0 initially when I was setting up the budget, which is obviously not the case because nothing is free. He actually gave us a bit of a discount, so I think it was $600 for what he's doing for us, but then he broke it down to $400, which is so kind. So we have paid this in full, and you can see that there is no more remaining balance. And then the last thing for the ceremony are the wedding bands. I did unbox these in my latest video. So that is $5,000 as the budget, but with taxes and everything, it was $5,073.60. This was also paid in full, so you can see that there's nothing remaining. Next, for pre-wedding, the only thing I put in here was the guest travel accommodation. So the travel for my family and Felix's family is actually going to be covered by them, but we are going to be taking them to Victoria Island after the wedding, just as a way to celebrate, and Victoria Island is our favorite. So we did rent out an Airbnb, which was about $2,675, and we've paid about half of that, and the remaining half is due at the end of September. For the reception venue, it is not the same as the ceremony venue. So we're going from the ceremony into a dinner, and we don't have to pay for anything really for that reception venue. Everything is all included in the food and beverage bill, which is about $2,000. So this is their minimum spend. And I think we're going to be just about there or slightly going to go over. Obviously, we don't know what that amount is just yet. So if it is going to be adjusted, I'll have to put it into this column. But for now, it's $2,000. We haven't paid for anything because we don't have to put down a deposit. I'm going to skip a couple of these so you can see alcohol MC band. We are not paying for. This is something that I guess we're saving on for the wedding. We're not doing any of that. And then for the wedding cake, we found a bakery here in Vancouver that we love. I've actually ordered quite a few things from them already. It's called Oh Sweet Day if you're looking. Their wedding cakes, I estimated around $200 and the total was $179, and that was completely paid for as well, so there's no remaining balance. And then something I decided to like really splurge on for the wedding is the photographer. I had a photographer in mind and I knew that if she gave me a number, I would try to make it work. But because it is such a small wedding, we didn't need her for like many hours, because I feel like some people get a photographer for like 8 hours, which obviously expands the budget or the amount that would cost you to hire them. So for us, it was just 4 hours of photography, which came to $4,315. I initially thought it'd be like 3.6, but with the cost of film, we do want film photos. It all came up to $4,315, and her retainer was just under $800, and we still owe about $3.5K once the wedding is done. And then flowers, I want to touch on flowers because I really thought I wasn't going to be splurging on these or really spending that much money. You can see that I put down $500 and I was really accommodating for the bouquet and the boutonniere, and I was like, that's it, we're done with it. But I decided to do some like arrangements for the ceremony, which obviously increases the price by a lot. And this was something, as I mentioned, I just didn't want to splurge on, but I ended up having to, I guess. Like, I know that they're going to look very beautiful, but it was just a lot of money. But I'm trusting that it's all gonna look great. So the total adjusted is to $2,348.15, and we've paid about half of that deposit already, and the rest will come next week. So we do have to pay this pretty quickly. Next category is hair and makeup. This I knew I was going to be spending some money on. I did my bridal hair and makeup trial about a month ago and I really liked it. The hair was a little bit like it needed a bit more work. I'm getting my haircut today actually. I feel like it will grow to a certain length in about a month. That would just be perfect for my bridal hair. I'm not even sure if I want to do any sort of curls. Like, I did do curls during the trial, but I didn't love it. And I'm still TBD on the hair, but the makeup was great. So the total for this was $1,330. I paid half of that, so the remaining half is going to come after the wedding. And then the one thing that I did splurge on, this was the biggest splurge ever, was my dress. You guys know the dress saga. I do not need to repeat it. Please watch the older videos if you're not caught up, but I basically have 2 dresses because I thought that I settled on one, and then there was one that I actually really wanted, and I ended up getting that, which was $7,096.32, which is a lot of money, but I know that I'm going to be very happy with it, and I'm going to look back on photos and I'll know that I didn't settle and I really went for the dress that I really wanted. So the dress is fully paid for as well. It's in alterations right now. And speaking of alterations, I didn't even put a budget for this line item. I'm pretty sure it's going to be around $300 to $500. That is going to come next week. So maybe I'll have to put that in here. Let's put $300 in there just in case. Nothing else in here for like my outfit. And then for the groom, my partner got a suit from Indochino. I don't know how much he paid, but I put down about $1,000 and everything has been paid for. And then that's pretty much it. The last little thing that I wanted to spend money on is a camcorder. So there are a couple of services out now where they let you borrow or like you rent out a camcorder and then you ship it back to them and they give you basically an edited wedding video, but you were the one who took it or the people around you took it. I'm really excited for that. They're called Wedding Weekender, and I paid $826.92 for this, and I don't have it just yet because it's going to come the weekend before the wedding. So those are all of my expenses. I should say that with my dress, I got a free veil and I also got 30% off alteration. So that saved me a little bit. But those are all the expenses that we've paid for the wedding. Just so we're all on the same page, the total adjusted wedding budget is $29,693, so just a little bit above what I had budgeted initially. total outstanding is $10,136.62. That is the amount that we still need to pay the vendors for, because we've likely paid for just half of their cost for the deposit. We've paid about 66% of the wedding already, which totals to $19,557.37. And this is all what it looks like in a beautiful format. So if you're kind of like a type A person like me and just want to see everything all at a glance, I would say that this budget tracker would really help you out in your wedding planning. So that is the wedding budget. I already kind of mentioned a few things that I saved and splurged on. I feel really good about the wedding. I know that it's coming up very quickly. It's very fast. Someone said to me it's fast and furious, and I told them I think it's fast, but it's not very furious. I mentioned this in my last video, but things have just kind of been falling into place, and I love that. Like, nothing feels super forced. Everything is kind of going as they should, and I've really enjoyed this season of my life of planning a wedding with my partner and all of the little things. And I'm just really excited to get into the next phase very soon. Like, I'm not rushing it, but I am ready. That's the wedding budget update. I hope you guys liked this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. It really supports the channel, and I will see you all in my next one. Bye, you guys.